Hello and welcome to Columbus, Ohio. We're outside Crew Stadium, home of the Columbus Crew, MLS Cup champions for 2008. Today it's match day 2 for Canada. Their opponents, El Salvador. But first of all, we're summing up match day 1 where they played Jamaica. Max, tell us a bit more about this.
Well, Laurence, obviously it was a great result for Canada, a 1-0 victory over Jamaica. This is their first victory in competitive competition since a disastrous World Cup qualifying campaign. And I thought numerous players impressed. Obviously, Ali Gerba with the match winner. Really his only burst of the game, but he did a great job on finishing that to the bottom left-hand corner. A one-time volley finish, and I think a lot of supporters were very impressed with his tenacity on that play. Also of note was Canada's performance at the back. Youngster Dejan Jakovic and Kevin McKenna doing a great job at center back, and one of the best performances we've seen in a while from Paul Stalteri. A quiet behind-the-scenes performance, but great positional play and great leadership on the pitch. And him and Kevin seem to really team up to do a great job at the back.
A calm team right now, you could argue, in the Canadian training camp. How do you think they're going to line up today, and how do you think they're going to combat the attacking of El Salvador?
Well, you're absolutely right to say that El Salvador will come out attacking. Obviously, you and I saw them play in LA against Costa Rica, a very good Costa Rican side. And we should talk a bit about this El Salvador team. El Salvador are undefeated in the last 5 games. They've had a victory against Ecuador, a victory against Honduras, and another victory against Mexico. So 3 very good opponents going down to the El Salvador side. And obviously, when we saw them in LA, they were buoyed by about 20,000 Salvadorian supporters. And we're expecting a good level of El Salvador support again today. So Canada is going to be up against a good side and a vocal support for the Latin American side.
Indeed, the El Salvador supporters are already turning up here, populating so much of this parking lot that you just wouldn't believe it. We're not quite expecting the same numbers, obviously, here today. How do you think the Canadian fans are going to cope with the sheer volume of these supporters?
Well, in LA, we had a fairly minimal turnout. I think 8 to 10 Voyageurs came down, which was still great to see. And unfortunately, we're not expecting the same level of support we received for Toronto FC in Columbus, but I believe there should be about 30 to 40 Canadian supporters in the crowd. Obviously, they'll be outvoiced in terms of numbers, but we hope they can still bring a strong presence to the match.
Okay, let's talk about the lineup for Canada today and whether you think it's going to change at all, how you think Stephen Hart is assessing his team right now, and where you think our strengths and weaknesses are.
Well, from speaking to Stephen and some of the hints he's been dropping in the media over the last couple of days, I think we'll see almost the exact same lineup we saw start against Jamaica in LA. It's a fairly conservative lineup when you have Marcel de Jong playing at what really is a left attacker role. And we all know Marcel is much more of a defensive player. So I expect to see Marcel back in the team. And I think Simeon Jackson will start on the bench as well. And Ali Gerba will be the only true center forward on the team, as I think Stephen has anticipated a very refined and well-developed El Salvador attack. And I think we'll see the same lineup through and through, but we may expect some changes earlier on if the match changes in the early stages.
The good thing about it is that it's fairly hot right now in Columbus, but by the evening it's going to be much cooler, and we're expecting to be playing in a beautiful sunset. How do you think that the climate here is going to affect the way the Canadian team play, considering that they play all over the world in all sorts of different places?
Well, I think after a week training in Oxnard, California, they'll be well adjusted to the heat. It is quite hot here, but as you say, it'll be cooling off, so I don't think the weather will actually be much of an issue. Obviously, if it stays too hot, that may favor the El Salvador team with their Latin American climate, but I think given the fact that the sun should be setting, we should be okay.
Okay, so looking at predictions for this evening, strengths and weaknesses of Canada, and then the strengths and weaknesses of the El Salvador team, and where you think Canada are going to be able to penetrate.
Well, obviously with having strikers like Rob Friend and Tomas Radzinski out of the lineup, a lot of us are questioning where the goals are going to come from for Canada. Ali Gerba obviously in a great vein of form. If anybody's going to score tonight, he's most likely to do it. But Canada will also have to work at getting Julian de Guzman involved, because when we get him at the top of the box, he's as lethal as anybody on our team. And my one concern against Jamaica was that if Ali hadn't have made that half chance into the goal, we're not quite sure where the goal would have come from. So I would expect a low-scoring affair tonight, but I would expect a very organized Canadian backline. 0-0 wouldn't be a strange result in my mind, but I could also expect a 1-1. But that being said, El Salvador is a very strong side. They're in the Hex right now, playing a lot of games together, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a victory, but I'll go with a conservative 1-1 draw tonight, which would give Canada a strong 4 points so far.
Outmuscled slightly by Jamaica, but not downtrodden. The important thing for tonight is that Canada could go up to 6 points in the group. Join us post-match for all the interviews and coverage which we can give you. Until then, good afternoon.